Oh, those boys are much too much. Those boys are much too much. We got the spirit. We're hot. We can't be stopped. We got the spirit. We're hot. We can't be stopped. We're going to beat them and bust them.
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life.
Let's get a little bit rowdy. R-O-W-D-Y.
Take time to be a dad today. Call or visit fatherhood.gov to learn more.
Thank you for calling your GED Pep Talk Center. All right, now, are you ready for your GED Pep Talk?
Being nervous is okay. It just shows that you're serious about getting your diploma.
A lot of things are scary. Heck, I'm scared of clowns.
No quiero oír. No lo puedo hacer.
DMC, life in your pep talk style.
Just keeping it real, Debs. Just keeping it real.
Whatever motivation you need, we've got a pep talk for you. Get your GED pep talk and find free classes at yourged.org.
All in together now. We can make it better now. Come on, can we do it?
Yeah, you know that we can.
We rope it up,
cause we know how to jump.
we roll it out,
Cause we know how to skate.
we'll cut it down,
Cause we know what to eat.
we'll swap it out.
We eat healthy stuff.
Can we do it?
Yeah, you know that we can.
Can we do it?
Just moving a little and eating better every day can help make you and your child healthier. Search We Can to find doable tips and activities that you can use every day.
My life is full of statistics. Thing is, I could have dropped out of school and become one myself, but I didn't because I had people that believed in me. Here's another statistic. 7,000 students drop out every school day. That's one every 26 seconds. It's time that students know that we believe in them.
Inspire a student and share your message of support at boostup.org.
What if you could invest in the future of kids, like a stock? Not the kind of stock that's about making money, but a stock for social change. A whole new kind of investment called Better Futures. When you invest, it helps kids go to college. Believe in us, invest in us, watch us grow.
My name is Sydney, and I'm your dividend.
NFC, AFC, offensive linemen, defensive tackles, quarterbacks, and cornerbacks are all working with United Way for a million little reasons. The kids of our communities, to ensure their academic success all the way to graduation day. You see, it takes about 12 years to create a graduate, but it takes the same time to create a dropout. And the difference between a kid becoming one or the other could be a professional athlete, or it could be you. Studies showed the earlier we get to kids, the better their chances. So become a United Way volunteer reader, tutor, or mentor, and make a difference in the life of a child, for the life of that child.
Give.
Advocate.
Volunteer. Live United. Join your favorite NFL players. Take the pledge. Go to unitedway.org.
And welcome to this week's edition of The Message. I am your host, Donatus King, and we'll spend this next hour with one purpose in mind, and that one purpose is delivering the message that God is Almighty. Everything that ever was, is now, or ever will be was made by God. Everything that ever happened, is happening right now, or ever will happen, was made to happen by God. God has a master plan for all time and all creation. God is Almighty. The message is brought to you by, is produced by the Society of Knowledge Incorporated. The Society is an interdenominational, religious, spiritual organization. Our members come from various different religious and spiritual backgrounds. We have various different religious and spiritual beliefs. Although we come from different backgrounds and have different beliefs, there's one belief that we share. There's one piece of knowledge that we hold in common. And that's the knowledge that there is a being, by no matter what name we may have been taught to call that being, by no matter what name we may have come to know that being, whether that name be God, Allah, Yahweh, Jesus, Buddha, nature, by no matter what name, we know that there is a being that possesses not some of the power, not most of the power, but all of the power. We know that there is indeed an almighty being. That's the reason we do this show, and the only reason we do this show, to deliver the message that that being that personally I call God, that being is indeed almighty. Today is December the 22nd, 2016, and this is the last show, live show, of the year. The studio will be closed next Thursday, so we will have a rebroadcast. So this is the last show, and I remind you of today's date because tonight, as we are on most Thursdays, we are live. And I remind you of that fact because I invite you, you see the telephone number that's on your screen. I invite you to use that number. Call in if there's something that's going on in your mosque, your masjid, your synagogue, your temple, your place of worship, and you want to let the world know about it. Call in and let the world know about it. If there's something that's going on in your nonprofit organization and you want to let the world know about it, call in and let the world know about it. More important than that, more important than what's going on in your nonprofit organization, more important than what's going on in your place of worship, if there's something that God has done for you in your life, a miracle that God has worked in your life, call in and share that testimony with the world. You know, it may be someone that's watching this show right now that needs to have a miracle in their life. You know, they may be having some problems, some financial problems, some health problems, any type of problems, and they're about to give up all hope. They need a miracle. Hearing your testimony about how God worked a miracle in your life might be the one thing that they need to strengthen them, to encourage them, to help them to hold on until things get better. So call in and share your testimony with the world. That's right, I said share it with the world because as I speak right now, this show is being seen live around the world. That's right, folks that are in Formosa, China right now can tune in and watch the message live. You see the website as on your screen as www.livestream.com/messengerdnk. I invite you to use that, lock that website into your web browser. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, you can watch previously recorded episodes of the message. And no matter where you are in the world, on most Thursdays, you can watch the message live. I also invite you to tune in to our other website, and our other website, our main website, that's www.godisalmighty.org, www.godisalmighty.org. Tune into our main website and lock that in, and when you go to our main website, there are links to all of our social media outlets, including our Facebook page, and usually for the past couple of months, we've been on Facebook Live, and as you see me when I'm trying to get back to our Facebook Live, we're having a little bit problems with it tonight. So if you're trying to tune in on Facebook Live, that's the reason. We're just having some technical difficulties. But normally you're able to tune in Facebook Live and watch the show. Okay, we're going to go right into our show. We have a jam-packed show tonight. As I say, this is the last show of 2016, and it looks like it was only yesterday when I was talking about our first show of 2016. The years go by faster and faster. Every year, time goes a little bit faster. Religious spiritual study, prove all things, hold fast that which is good, coming out of the first book of Thessalonians, chapter 5, verse 21. See, words of inspiration tonight will come out of the book of Luke, chapter 2, and Matthew, chapter 2, verses 1 through 12. announcements. Brother Chris is prayer line. Brother Chris prayer line, 504-866-5042. Open Monday, Wednesdays, and Friday. Open Mondays and Wednesdays, 10 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. He also has meditation training. That meditation training is 9:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Tuesdays and Thursdays. A Bible study in Copeland, Monday and Wednesdays, 3:30 p.m. to 5:30 p.m. Is free. The number again, 504-866-5042. Suggested readings, James, Zechariah, Isaiah, Hebrews, 1 Peter, and Acts. And the Copeland, the Bible study, meditation, that is closed until the new year. Even though we have it on the screen, it's closed until the new year. There's our main website I told you about a few minutes ago, and that's www.godisalmighty.org. That's www.godisalmighty.org. When you visit that main website, there are links to our religious discussion blog, our Facebook at The Messenger, and also our Facebook Live is at Donatus N. King, Twitter at Donatus N. King, Instagram, and YouTube. Minister Antoine Brown's prayer line, 504-214-1379, is free. And if you want to drop Minister Antoine a message, a letter, his address is P.O. Box 94, Violet, Louisiana, 70092. Peacekeepers of New Orleans, 504-723-3976. Beef Hotline. If there's someone that you know that's having a dispute, and they want to try to resolve it without resorting to violence, give the Beef Hotline a call so they can come out and help mediate a peaceful resolution. Rock of Ages Ministries International, Apostle Ronnie Bailey, www.ronniebailey.com. That's their main website. Please visit their website, and there's a whole lot of good things that Apostle Bailey is into. And all you have to do is visit his website, and you can see the work that they are doing. St. John of Arc Catholic Church, 8321 Birch Street, here in the city of New Orleans. Services are Saturdays, 4 p.m., Sundays, 8 a.m. and 10 a.m. Call 311 for smoke detectors if you're here in the city of New Orleans, and they will deliver those smoke detectors for free. They will actually come out and deliver them for free, and if you have your own smoke detector already, I invite you to please check the batteries in your smoke detector. Also, I invite you and I encourage you, as you see on the screen, as far as your children, please don't leave your children in the car alone. Please don't leave them in the car, period. You know, it looks like every week I speak about that, and people are still doing it. And one of the, it was really a heartbreaking story this past week. And the heartbreaking story was that there was a child, and I forgot what city it's in, but there was a child that was left in the car, and the child actually suffered from, I don't know if it's hypothermia or hyperthermia, that they almost froze to death. So in the summers, we have to worry about children suffering from the heat and being killed by the heat, being left in automobiles, but it's still a danger even in the winter because, again, children can suffer from not only heat, but also suffer from the cold. Gloryland Congregational Baptist Church, 4541 America Street, New Orleans, Louisiana. Reverend Adam Lee, the pastor teacher, the Sunday school, 9 a.m., worship service, Sundays, 10:30 a.m., prayer service, Tuesdays, 7 p.m., Bible study on Tuesdays, 7:15 p.m., religious spiritual study, prove all things, hold fast that which is good. Coming out of the first book of Thessalonians, chapter 5, verse 21. Words of inspiration coming out of the book of Matthew, chapter 2, verses 1 through 12. And if we can, we will get to Genesis chapter 41, verses 55 through 57. But before we go there, have a couple of more announcements. Didn't get a chance to write them up, but let me read those off. And I remind you, if you have an announcement, something that you want us to announce on the air, you can give me a call during the week, and I will have it typed up or try to get it typed up and placed on the air. And if not, you can call in. Actually, you can call in during the show and make the announcement yourself. But here's an announcement. I didn't get a chance to put this announcement on the screen. But the National McDonald 35 Alumni Association is reaching out to all persons who graduated from McDonald 35 High School as it begins its commemoration of the school's centennial celebration. All right? MAC 35, 100 years old, 1917 to 2017. If you are a graduate or if you know of someone who graduated from McDonald 35, please contact the Alumni Association at McDonald 35 Alumni Association at yahoo.com or McDonald 35 Alumni Association.org, or you can also give me a call because I didn't get a chance to put these on the screen. So you give me a call, and I'll give you those web addresses. You're also asked to support the annual Winter Mixer, which will be Friday, tomorrow, 2016, at the Regency, 7300 Downman Road here in the city of New Orleans. There is an admission, so you can give me a call, and I'll give you all the information. Also, memorial bricks are being sold to support the Alumni Scholarship Fund. The bricks will be placed in the courtyard of the new school. Buy a brick for yourself, your loved ones, or in memory of someone who graduated from McDonald 35. All right. So there's a lot of things that's going on. MAC 35, as it celebrates its 100-year anniversary. So go out and support them. And if you weren't able to get that information down, just give me a call, and I can give you that information. Before we get into our words of inspiration, this is our spiritual study. We've been talking the past 4 weeks. We've been speaking about this season called the Christmas season. And that really related and very relevant to a lot of our viewers that are Christians. We realize that not all of our viewers are Christian, and as I say every week, that this is an interdenominational show. So that means no matter what religion you are, even if you don't have a religion, you're welcome to watch the show and to participate in the show. And our only purpose, not to promote religion, not to promote any particular religion, but to deliver the message that God is Almighty. And I go and give that explanation because there are a couple of other things that are being celebrated tonight. Not tonight, but in this season. And this is a book. I invite all of you to get this book. And this book is called The Golden Bough. The Golden Bough by Sir James George Fraser. It's a wonderful, wonderful book. Let's see. It was copyrighted in 1922. Okay, it was copyrighted in 1922, and they've had several different editions of it. So I invite you, and the reason I invite you to do that is because this book, one of the things that we're talking about tonight, talking about Christmas, but when you study history, you'll find that there are a lot of festivals, winter festivals, that occur about this time of the year. And we're going to take a brief break, and when we come back, we're going to go through the Golden Bough, read a few of those, and we're also going to discuss another celebration that's not a religious celebration, but it's a celebration of the season, and that's Kwanzaa. And we're also going to talk about a religious celebration that's celebrated at this time of the year, and that is Hanukkah. And then we're also going to talk about a scientific phenomena that occurs at this time of the year, and that's called the winter solstice. So we're going to take a brief break, and we'll be right back here on The Message.
Oh, those boys are much too much. Those boys are much too much. We got the spirit. We're hot. We can't be stopped. We got the spirit. We're hot. We can't be stopped. We're going to beat them and bust them.
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life.
Let's get a little bit rowdy. R-O-W-D-Y.
Take time to be a dad today. Call or visit fatherhood.gov to learn more.
Thank you for calling your GED Pep Talk Center. All right, now, are you ready for your GED Pep Talk?
Being nervous is okay. It just shows that you're serious about getting your diploma.
A lot of things are scary. Heck, I'm scared of clowns.
No quiero ir. Danny, no lo puedo hacer.
DMC, life in your pep talk style.
Just keeping it real, Debs. Just keeping it real.
Whatever motivation you need, we've got a pep talk for you. Get your GED pep talk and find free classes at yourged.org.
All in together now. We can make it better now. Come on, can we do it?
Yeah, you know that we can.
We rope it up,
Cause we know how to jump.
we roll it out,
Cause we know how to skate.
we'll cut it down,
We know what to eat.
we'll swap it out.
We eat healthy stuff.
Can we do it?
Yeah, you know that we can.
Can we do it?
Just moving a little and eating better every day can help make you and your child healthier. Search We Can to find doable tips and activities that you can use every day.
My life is full of statistics. Thing is, I could have dropped out of school and become one myself, but I didn't because I had people that believed in me. Here's another statistic. 7,000 students drop out every school day. That's one every 26 seconds. It's time that students know that we believe in them.
Inspire a student and share your message of support at boostup.org.
What if you could invest in the future of kids, like a stock? Not the kind of stock that's about making money, but a stock for social change. A whole new kind of investment called Better Futures. When you invest, it helps kids go to college. Believe in us, invest in us, watch us grow.
My name is Sydney, and I'm your dividend.
NFC, AFC, offensive linemen, defensive tackles, quarterbacks, and cornerbacks are all working with United Way for a million little reasons. The kids of our communities, to ensure their academic success all the way to graduation day. You see, it takes about 12 years to create a graduate, but it takes the same time to create a dropout. And the difference between a kid becoming one or the other could be a professional athlete, or it could be you. Studies showed the earlier we get to kids, the better their chances. So become a United Way volunteer reader, tutor, or mentor, and make a difference in the life of a child, for the life of that child.
Give.
Advocate.
Volunteer.
Live United. Join your favorite NFL players. Take the pledge. Go to unitedway.org.
All right, family, welcome back to The Message. I really want to express some heartfelt appreciation for the staff that we have here at the studio for helping us to correct that problem that we were having with our Facebook Live. And we are back on the air of Facebook Live. And for those of you that are watching on Facebook Live, we had some glitches. That's why we weren't on, but it's great. And please write me a comment. Just let me know that you are watching. When we left, I was talking about and commenting on this book, The Golden Bough, by Sir James George Fraser. And I was speaking about we celebrate this time of the year, we celebrate Christmas, but there are religions that predated Christianity that had their solemn ceremonies and their solemn holy days at this same time of the year. And if you're interested, you can always, again, we live now in the age of the internet and the computer, so you can go online and do research just like that. I had this book, and I'm not ashamed to admit it, but before the internet was popular, and this was just a great reference source. And it's always good to have a book. The internet's great. I use it all the time myself, but it's great to have a book. So this book I highly recommend, Sir James George Frazer, The Golden Bough. Now there are a couple of other things. I spoke about we celebrate. There's a celebration at this time of the year, and it's not a religious celebration, but it's Kwanzaa. And I'm going to read about it for those of you that may not be familiar, and just so that we can educate ourselves. Okay, Kwanzaa, Dr. Maulana Karenga, professor and chairman of Black Studies at California State University, Long Beach, created Kwanzaa in 1966. After the Watts riots in Los Angeles, Dr. Karenga searched for ways to bring African Americans together as a community. He founded US, a cultural organization, and started to research African, open quotes, first fruit, close quotes, harvest celebrations. Karenga combined aspects of several different harvest celebrations, such as those of the Ashanti and those of the Zulu, to form the basis of Kwanzaa. Kwanzaa, the name Kwanzaa is derived from the phrase Matunda ya Kwanzaa, which means first fruits in Swahili. Each family celebrates Kwanzaa in its own way, but celebrations often include songs and dances, African drums, storytelling, poetry reading, and a large traditional meal. On each of the 7 nights, the family gathers and the child lights one of the candles on the kinara, the candle holder. Then one of the 7 principles is discussed. The principles, called Nguzo Saba, the 7 principles of Swahili, are values of African culture which contribute to building and reinforcing community among African Americans. Kwanzaa also has 7 basic symbols which represent values and concepts reflective of African culture. An African feast called the Karumo is held on December 31st. Okay, the 7 principles, or Nguzo Saba, are a set of ideals created by Dr. Karenga. Each day of Kwanzaa emphasizes a different principle. The candle lighting ceremony each evening provides the opportunity to gather and discuss the meaning of Kwanzaa. The first night, the black candle in the center is lit, and the principle of umoja, unity, is discussed. 1 candle is lit each evening, and the appropriate principle is discussed. The 7 principles, or Nguzo Saba, are a set of ideals created by Dr. Karenga. Each day of Kwanzaa emphasizes a different principle. The first, unity, or umoja, is to strive for and maintain unity in the family, community, nation, and race. The second, kujichagulia, self-determination, it stands for defining ourselves, naming ourselves, creating for ourselves, and speaking for ourselves. The third, ujima, collective work and responsibility, to build and maintain our community together and make our brothers and sisters' problems our problems and to solve them together. Next, Ujamaa, cooperative economics, to build and maintain our own stores, shops, and other businesses and to profit from them together. Next, Nia, purpose, to make our collective vocation the building and developing of our community in order to restore our people to their traditional greatness. Next, Kuumba, and that's creativity. To do always as much as we can in the way we can in order to leave our community more beautiful and beneficial than we inherited. And lastly, but not leastly, Imani, faith. To believe with all our heart in our people, our parents, our teachers, our leaders, in the righteousness and victory of our struggle. And that information that I read, it comes from the website www.history.com/topics/holidays/Kwanzaa-history, that website. So if you want to learn a little bit more about Kwanzaa, you can visit that website. And again, if you didn't get a chance to write that down, just give me a call and I'll give you that information. Next, this is a religion. Now, Kwanzaa is not a religion. It's a cultural celebration. But the next one is a religion. And that is the religion practiced by the Jewish faith. And that celebration is called Hanukkah. Hanukkah. All right? And it is celebrated. It's not a one-day celebration like Christmas, but it's more similar to Kwanzaa. Hanukkah is celebrated. You start celebrating it. It changes throughout the years. The dates change, but it usually starts in December, always in December. This year, it starts December 24th, and it runs through January 1. Okay, so December 24th through January 1. So you may have heard Hanukkah. So what is Hanukkah? All right, tell you what is Hanukkah. Okay, Hanukkah is the Jewish 8-day wintertime festival of lights celebrated with a nightly menorah lighting, a special prayers, and fried foods. And a menorah looks kind of like the same utensil that's used in celebrating Kwanzaa, except for the menorah has 9 candles as opposed to Kwanzaa. All right. In the 2nd century, now this is a little bit history about Hanukkah, if you didn't know. All right. In the 2nd century before Christian era, so 200 years before Christ, the Holy Land was ruled by the Seleucids, and they were a Syrian Greek mixture, who tried to force the people of Israel to accept Greek culture and beliefs instead of mitzvah observance and belief in God. Against all odds, a small band of faithful Jews, led by Judah the Maccabee, defeated one of the mightiest armies on earth, drove the Greeks from the land, reclaimed the Holy Temple in Jerusalem, and rededicated it to the service of God. When they sought to light the temple's menorah, the 7-branch candelabrum, they found only a single cruse of olive oil that had escaped contamination by the Greeks. Miraculously, they lit the menorah, and the 1-day supply of oil lasted for 8 days until new oil could be prepared under conditions of ritual purity. To commemorate and publicize these miracles, the sages instituted the festival of Hanukkah. And that information, that comes from the website www.shabbat.org/holidays.hanukkah.article. So if you want that website, give me a call and I can give you that information. Now, I said that throughout recorded time, different religions have celebrated different festivals, different holidays, around this time of the year. And I invited you, I encourage you to get a copy of The Golden Bough by Sir George Fraser. And you can study more about that. I invite you to go online and study more about that. And we talked about Christianity that has one of its most sacred celebrations this time of the year, that's Christmas. We talked about Hanukkah, sacred celebration this time of the year. Well, guess what? There's a celebration. It's not a celebration, but there is a phenomena that's observed this time of the year. And it's a scientific phenomena. And it's a scientific phenomena that's been occurring at this time of the year since before there were any religions. Before there were any religions. Now, for those of you that regularly watch this show, you know that it's my opinion, and I'm not trying to force that opinion on you or tell you that that opinion is true or false, but it's my opinion that a lot of the religious ceremonies that we have, a lot of the religious beliefs that we have, actually have their genesis, have their beginnings in science. In science. And there's too much of a, in my opinion, there's too much of a coincidence between some of these religious celebrations and religious teachings and just pure science. It's too much of a coincidence for there not to be some truth to that belief that there are many aspects of various different religions that have their root in pure science. And what I'm speaking about now, the scientific phenomena that I'm speaking about right now, that occurs every year around this same time, is called the winter solstice. Winter solstice. That's a scientific, that's not any Christian or Muslim or Jewish or none of that. This is pure science. Look it up, Google it, winter solstice. And solstice is S-O-L-S-T-I-C-E. S-O-L-S-T-I-C-E. Winter solstice. And what the winter solstice is, it's the shortest day of the year. The shortest day of the year. And when I say the short, I guess some of y'all saying, man, what are you talking about? Every day is the same, 24 hours. Well, I'm not talking about that. When I say the shortest day, I'm talking about as far as the amount of daylight. So the winter solstice is that day of the year, that one day of the year where you have less daylight than any other day of the year. Now, what does that have to do with religion? Okay, before I answer that question, let me just give a little science behind why it's short. Okay? For those of you that may have been sleeping during science class when they taught about this in school, maybe your science period was after lunch and you were just nodding out. But the earth rotates around the sun. And it rotates around the sun just like a ball. But the thing about it is not a ball that is level all the time. See, if it's a ball that was level all the time, it'd be like that. But no, it's a ball that's, they say it's tilted on its axis. It's like if you take a ball and run a pencil through it And instead of the pencil being straight up and down like that all the time, the pencil is kind of like this here, okay, kind of tilted. So that's what they call the axis. And the earth is revolving around the sun on its axis. And as it's doing that, at some time, that tilt has the top of the ball a little bit closer to the sun, and at other times, a little bit more far away from the sun. And by that tilt changing like that, what it does is it changes the amount of sunshine that's falling on a particular place. So throughout the year, sometimes the days are longer, sometimes they are shorter. Now that you got that, what that has to do with religion? Well, the science of it is when you figure out the shortest day of the year, when you figure out the shortest day of the year, and over centuries, over hundreds of years, over thousands of years, with man not having nothing to do, not having any iPads or iPhones or Facebook or none of that, no TVs, no radios, nothing to do but just observe nature for thousands of years, and man observing that. And that's a scientific method, right? Observation, forming a hypothesis, a theory, testing it, proving it. After thousands of years of looking at how the days are getting longer and shorter, man began to realize that, well, hold on. This is the short day, and then guess what? In a little while, in a few months, it's going to start getting warmer. And we've been sitting down for thousands of years watching things, and after that short day, after a few months, it starts getting warmer, and the rain starts coming, and we start seeing the wild grass growing. And we realize that before, when it was dark and cold, the wild grass wasn't growing, the crops wasn't growing. But now we done figured out that after this short day, in a few months, the seeds going to start coming out the ground. So now what we done figured out? We done figured out agriculture. We done figured out how to choose the best time to plant our seeds. We done figured out that this short day, that now the earth is coming back to life. Whoa, it's coming back to life. And some of the ancients used to talk about the sun. Wait a minute. The sun, S-U-N, the sun coming back to life. The S-U-N, because now the sun is getting stronger. The days are getting longer. The sun is coming back to life, coming back to power, the sun. And now maybe you see what I talk about, these coincidences, where the ancients talked about the earth being reborn. And now religions talking about the sun, S-O-N, being born at this time of the year. Is it a coincidence? I don't think so. But I'm not trying to convince you one way or the other. But that's the winter solstice. Do your research and read up on it. Let's see. Let's go Matthew chapter 2, verses 1 through 12. We're talking about Christmas and the birth of Christ. So now we've been reading all about that. Now we're reading some more about it. So Matthew chapter 2, verses 1 through 12. Now when Jesus was born in Bethlehem of Judea, in the days of Herod the king, behold, there came wise men from the east to Jerusalem, All right. Now, I have to stop there for a minute because, and I got to set the scene. Okay, I got to set the scene. I got to give you the backstory. The backstory is that at this time, the Jewish people in Judea was under the control of the Romans. So the Roman emperor controlled everything. The Roman soldiers were keeping guard over everything. But even though the Romans had conquered the Jews, the Romans allowed the Jews to still do two things. One, allowed the Jews to still practice their religion. And then number two, allowed the Jews to still have their king. So the Jews had their king, but their king, the Jewish king, was still under domination, was still under the control of the Roman emperor. So even though he wasn't the number one power, there still was a Jewish king, and he had some power. Not a lot of power. He couldn't overrule Rome, but he did still have some power over the Jews. And the king at that time, the Jewish king at that time, his name was Herod. And the Jews had been talking in their religion, their prophets had been talking about a Savior that was going to be born. And what they were talking about, the prophecy, it wasn't really about a spiritual Savior. It was about a governmental Savior, a Savior that was going to free the Jews. And Herod, who was the king, he was leery about this kind of discussion. And he was leery because he felt that it was a threat to his authority, a threat to his position, that there was going to be some insurrection, some revolution, and they were going to overthrow the Jewish king. So this is Herod that they're talking about, and that kind of just gives you a little bit background. All right, let's go back to it. So they came wise men from the east to Jerusalem. And when you look at the map, to the east of Jerusalem, what do we find to the east of Jerusalem? Well, to the east of Jerusalem, we find Baghdad. Okay, we find Iraq. All right, and this is a place very important in Jewish history. That's where Abraham came from, that area. And sometimes they call that Babylon. All right, that's the area that they came from. So there were wise men from the east that came to Bethlehem, saying, where is he that is born king of the Jews? Hold on now. Herod was the king. What's these wise men talking about? Where's the king of the Jews? For we have seen his star in the east and are come to worship him. Now see, last week I talked about how God does things in fantastic ways so that people can talk about it. Now here it is, these wise men. Now that's important. Now sometimes you hear them referred to as magi. Sometimes you hear them referred to as the three kings. The scriptures here, this King James Version says wise men. The wise men, so that lets you know that's not some dummies. They're not making stuff up. It says these are wise men. And what have they done? They have traveled. You see how God is building all this drama? They have traveled all the way from the east. And they didn't come because somebody gave them a map. No. They didn't have GPS. No. It's more fantastic, more spectacular than all of that. They had a star. They had a star that they followed. Now you tell me God didn't work things out. You see, God made it a star up there so folks could talk about it. Here we are 2,000 years later. And we're still talking about and reading about that star that guided the wise men. It didn't guide the dummies. It guided the wise men all the way from the east to Jerusalem so they could find that child that was born, the king of the Jews. And look what it says, the wise men, it said, look, we didn't come to just see if this is true or not. We didn't come so we could post it on Facebook. No. It says, we came. Look what it says. Read it for yourself. And are come to worship him. Now, these are wise men that then came to worship this child, wise men that have been guided by a star to worship. All right. When Herod the king had heard, wait a minute, look at this. When Herod the king had heard these things, he was troubled, and all Jerusalem with him. Herod said, wait a minute, these wise men coming, following the star to find the king. I'm the king. So this troubled him. And when he had gathered all the chief priests and scribes of the people together, he demanded of them where Christ should be born. And they said unto him, in Bethlehem of Judea, for thus it is written by the prophet, and thou Bethlehem in the land of Judah art not the least among the princes of Judah, for out of thee shall come a governor that shall rule my people Israel. Now, you know, as I was preparing for tonight's show and reading through these scriptures, the Spirit just put on me, look what's happening here. Out of thee, Bethlehem, which are the least of Judah, out of thee shall come a governor. You see, Bethlehem, you're not a famous city. You're not a rich, important, glamorous city. No, Bethlehem, you are the least. You're one of the worst neighborhoods that there is. Anybody would try to get out of that neighborhood. Look at the neighborhood you're in. Look at that. The least in Judah. But out of you shall come the governor. Out of you shall come the King of the Jews. And what the Spirit worked on me, was that, look at this. No matter what your beginnings, no matter how humble the neighborhood you come from, God can bring you and put you on a pinnacle, no matter where you come from. See, sometimes we limit ourselves. We get to thinking that, well, look, I come from the ghetto. I'm not going to amount to nothing. I'm not worth nothing. This is who I am. This is my people. This is where I come from. I got too many strikes against me. I can't accomplish anything. But the scripture's right there. Out the poorest neighborhood in Judah came the King of Kings. If God could do that 2,000 years ago, tell me why can't God do that today? And just look at you, no matter what your condition right now, no matter what your station in life, God can elevate you. All right, it's getting late. Let's run. We got to run. All right. Then Herod, when he had privately called the wise men, inquired of them diligently what time the star appeared. And he sent them to Bethlehem and said, go and search diligently for the young child, and when ye have found him, bring me word again, that I may come and worship him also. When they had heard the king, they departed, and lo, the star, which they saw in the east, went before them till it came and stood over where the young child was. When they saw the star, they rejoiced with exceeding great joy. And when they were come into the house, they saw the young child with Mary his mother, and fell down and worshipped him. And when they had opened their treasures, they presented unto him gifts, gold and frankincense and myrrh. And being warned of God in a dream that they should not return to Herod, they departed into their own country another way. No matter what your beginnings, have hope. Your beginnings do not determine your end. God can bring you from out the worst neighborhood, and mamas and daddies out there that's concerned about your children. Let this be some encouragement for you, that even though they may have been born into an environment full of drugs, born into a neighborhood where people are getting shot, born into a neighborhood that have failing schools, even though all that might be true, if the Bible is telling the truth, and if 2,000 years ago God took a neighborhood like that and brought forth the King of Kings, brought forth him that would be called the Son of God, brought forth Jesus the Christ. If God could do that 2,000 years ago, then God can take your child, no matter what kind of neighborhood you live in. God can take your child and elevate your child. As we close out, as I said earlier, this is the last show of the year. The studio is closed next week. So I want to just take this opportunity to publicly thank God for letting us have one more year on the air, one more year to be together, one more year to be able to deliver the message that God is Almighty. And as we enter into this season, there may be perils out there. I pray that you keep safe. And no matter whatever it is in store for you in this upcoming year, in 2017, I pray that God Almighty blesses you and yours with peace.